if you've ever spent hours on something that really shouldn't take hours just because you want it to be perfect, and if you ever had that sick stomach and you're feeling that you're going to disappoint someone, whether that be your family member, your friends, even strangers, maybe your boss, this is for you. So what is perfectionism? I feel like most of us know, but what are the indicators that you have perfectionism? Are you someone who spends way too much time editing, combing through every fine detail for whether that's your essay, your homework, your resume? Maybe you're even a type A person who plans your trips. Maybe you're making a video, maybe you're a content creator, maybe you're making a slideshow or presentation, and you feel like it's eating up all your time because you're just looking for every error possible. Do you ever ask yourself, am I good enough? Does fear of making one mistake paralyze you from starting a project you want to do? Maybe a passion project that you always wanted to do and you just can't do it because you feel like you're going to fail. You want it to be perfect. Do you ever feel like a complete failure when you're anything less than perfect? Often perfectionism is an all or nothing mentality. It's either going to be perfect or you're just not going to do it. Do you take criticism as a personal attack on your own self-worth? I know I did, and this was very tough for me during my career. Constantly comparing yourself, doing highlight reels of other people's feed versus yours and what they're doing in their life and why you're so behind. And this is a big one. You have impossible self-standards for yourself, and you have normal standards for other people, or sometimes barely any standards. The bar is very low for other people. For you, up in the sky, because it's all or nothing. Am I a people pleaser? And if you are one, you've probably typed this into Google yourself. I know I have. So here are the indicators. Do you find yourself saying yes when your whole body is screaming no, that you just want to please someone else? You can't find the courage to say no. You feel responsible for managing someone else's emotions, whether that's your parents, your siblings, your friends, people around you, your boss. And you apologize constantly for something that's not even your fault. Sometimes I'll bump into someone at the grocery, so people often bump into me and then I'll say I'm sorry even though it wasn't my fault, it was their fault. So I'm still working on it. I've done this for a long time, is suppressing my own needs. Have you ever suppressed your own needs, opinions, and boundaries to avoid disappointing other people? Do you feel guilty when you rest? Struggle to ask for help because you don't want to feel like a burden to anyone? Are you constantly reading the room, hyper aware of everyone else's emotions? Do you lose yourself in relationships? Become who you think other people want you to be? This is also a big one for me. Do you avoid conflict at all costs? I know I did. Even if it's sacrificing your own truth. Everyone comes to you for advice, for their problems, and you rarely share your problems with them. If you're nodding to both of these lists, then you're likely a people pleaser and a perfectionist. And that's okay. Both perfectionism and people pleasing develop in conditional love environments. If you do this thing to please your parents, that's when they show that they love you. Your nervous system learned that a perfect performance in front of everyone means that everyone's happy. I grew up in a Chinese household where my parents grew up in a lot of fear, abandonment, violence. They grew up in a lot of scarcity. That is a challenge in itself. So not blaming them for this, but I think it's important to understand where it all comes from. Because generational trauma is very real. There's always this mentality to have face in front of other people, never talk badly in front of them, never seem like you're less than perfect, always smiling, never showing your weaknesses, just being very level-minded. And there's no room for mistakes, and we're very good at hiding our emotions. Authentic self never really mattered because it's the family image that comes on top. I remember showing her dad my report card of like straight A's, and I think he just looked at me and said, good. That moment taught me that no amount of perfection was ever going to be good enough for him. So you can practice these good enough standards in a way to combat your perfectionism. So you can literally set timers for when editing. I usually edit my podcast episodes like on Monday, and they're literally due on Tuesday morning. So that kind of gives me a way to not overthink it and just hit publish. Learning that good enough is actually excellent. Most can't tell the difference between your 80% and your 100%. Only you can. And celebrate mistakes as data. When it comes to social media, sometimes posts might not do so well and you're like, why am I an idiot? And why did I make that post? Instead of thinking that way, you can reframe it as, okay, I learned that if people may not resonate with this style or content, maybe I should make something else. Or maybe you keep going and improve the way that you make your content. And one day you'll find your own tribe. So just viewing it as each mistake teaches us something about the process and boundaries in learning. So some ideas are to keep a mistake journal, write down your mistake, and write down what you learned from it. That way it can show you the positive correlations between mistakes and what you've learned. Start with small no's. This could be someone asking you what you want for dinner. And if you don't want it, you can practice saying no and offer an alternative. I used to find that was very difficult for me because I wanted to please other people. And you can't go from saying yes to everything to saying no to everything overnight. It takes time and practice. The more you practice saying no, because that's what you really want to say, the easier it becomes. And I've learned this. I learned this the hard way. And your nervous system, and honestly, your nervous system needs to learn that saying no is safe. Because in the past, saying no wasn't safe. So now that you're an adult and you're in charge of your own life, it is now. So you can start with something small. No, I can't take that call right now. I'm busy. No, I don't want to go to that event. No, I can't help with that project this week. And each small no teaches yourself that you can survive disappointing people. And it's okay. And yeah, you're gonna have to learn how to sit with the discomfort that some people might be disappointed in you. And you might feel guilty or nervous. The more you train yourself and see that, hey, everything's okay, the more you'll understand that it's okay to put yourself first. And yeah, this discomfort is temporary. Freedom is everlasting. Just remember that. And every day you try to ask for one small thing that you need, whether that's from a partner, from your family, or from your friends. You'll be really grateful that you ask for help because oftentimes people do want to help. And the key is to start seeing your needs as something that is valid and important and not a burden for other people. And yeah, you can talk to your younger self. You can be like, hey, I know you had to learn to be perfect to be safe, but we're okay now. You don't need to be perfect anymore. And that's really free. The more you learn to be your authentic self and not people pleasing, the more likely you are to find people who appreciate who you really are. And I think that's just the zest of life. And just remember, every step that you take towards healing your own traumas doesn't just change your life, it changes your child's life, your family's life. This is my invitation to you. If this resonated with you, try one small thing this week. Publish that blog that you've always wanted to write. Even if you don't think it's good enough, just try it and see what happens. You never know. Send an email without reading it a million times. Share an unfiltered. Choose one small boundary. Say no to something, to someone, because people are always asking for something. And who knows, maybe you'll be happy that you did. And I think it's important to, when you're saying no and practicing these healthy habits, to notice how you feel. Does it make you nervous? Make you uncomfortable? And if so, that's okay, because you're learning. And I think it's important to remind yourself that you're worthy of love, not just because you're helpful or perfect or anything like that, just because. I think the takeaway message is that perfectionism and people-pleasing were never character flaws. They were just there to protect you, and you can thank them for their service, but they're not needed here anymore. And you are allowed to be human.